All right, let's hit the field.
We are just 11 days from opening day in the Bronx, and we got a post-game show for a spring training matchup between the Yankees and the Pirates. Plus, we'll do a deep dive on Austin Wells, who has looked amazing this spring. We'll talk about the Breakout prospect game, and I'll preview the content you can expect on this channel in 2025. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We are getting close. One more week of spring training games, then a few days off, and then it becomes for real. I'll recap the game in a few seconds, but a few things I wanted to touch on real quick because it's been a minute since we've done one of these. Carlos Rodon will be your opening day starter for the New York Yankees. You know, they didn't want to change Max Fried's routine, and I don't blame them. He's dealing with enough. You know, his first season as a Yankee, there's that added pressure of him being, I guess, quote unquote, the new ace after Garrett Cole went down with an injury. But Carlos Rodon is going to step in and pitch opening day. I've noticed a couple of things about Rodon this spring. Number one, he is in excellent shape right now. He came into camp very fit last year. He stayed pretty fit throughout the season. And then this year, he looks even more trim. The double chin is gone. He looks strong. He's got a second thing I noticed, which is a beard. He is one of those guys who's taken advantage of the new facial hair policy, rocking a light beard. And honestly, I think it changes his whole aura. He looks more confident. Doesn't mean he's going to win 20 games or anything, but he definitely looks more comfortable. And you can tell some people just feel more comfortable when they've got a beard. I'm one of them. Jason Dominguez has been swinging the bat absolutely tremendously lately. He homered again today versus the Rays. So it was a split squad, and he went deep. He launched a massive 2-run home run off of Jackson Jobe the other day, one of the top pitching prospects in baseball for the Tigers. Yesterday, he had a multi-hit game. He had a stand-up triple where he showed off the speed. He also laced a line drive through the left side, the old Tony Gwynn 5.5 hole, as he used to call it. So the Martian heating up as we approach opening day. Ben Rice and Dominic Smith both swinging the bat very well and turning some heads and really creating a competition for that DH spot that's becoming very interesting. Ben Rice's exit velocity has been outstanding this spring. About a dozen balls hit 100 miles an hour or more. And Dominic Smith hit another home run today. He's got 4 home runs in the spring. Ben Rice went deep against the Rays in the split squad. I saw some stats that said he was one of the most unlucky players in baseball last year in terms of how hard he hit and the profile of his hits and how they should have played out versus how they did. So, you know, Ben Rice, maybe he puts up some numbers this year if he becomes the DH. Right now, I think Ben Rice has the advantage, but Dominic Smith certainly putting up some numbers in spring. Excuse me. And Dominic Smith, he'd be one of those guys that would be the perfect Brian Cashman move. He loves to pick up those guys who used to be a mega prospect that has shown flashes of excellence from time to time, but never really any kind of sustained excellence. I don't think he's going to win the job. He has definitely had a good spring. And it looks to me like Oswaldo Cabrera is leading the third base battle. He homered today against the Rays also. I thought it was going to be Oswald Peraza winning that job.
I've never been so wrong in my whole life.
But Oswaldo really stepping up and doing a nice job. Hey, we got a super chat here from Referee. He says, I truly think the Martian is overrated. It worries me. I mean, you're welcome to believe that, but I mean, he's swinging the bat better lately. You know, a million scouts were telling us he was the best they'd ever seen when he signed at that point in his career. Last year, he hit over 300 in the minors with decent power coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think he's going to be an elite hitter, personally. I don't know about his defense. It looks like it's kind of gotten better in recent weeks. He hasn't, had as many obvious problems that I've seen. But, I mean, you're certainly welcome to that opinion, and he's going to have to go out there and prove that he is the real deal. All right, let's talk about the game. Unfortunately, the Yankees were not able to pull through. Oh, one more thing I should mention. We're going to have our yearly over-under prediction show with Eric Kratz on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Two-time Yankee Eric Kratz. You guys who've been around on the channel for a while will know that I like to make these yearly episodes kind of like a big deal. I really kind of do up the production and make them fun and funny and all that stuff. So it's going to be a good time. I've been working on it for 2 days. So, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Austin Wells led off the game with a double. Definitely appears like Boone is leaning towards putting him in the leadoff spot this year. I didn't love it at first, but he seems to be comfortable there. And he seems to be comfortable in general. We'll profile him more closely in a few minutes, but he's having a good spring. Bellinger gave the Yankees the lead early on. 5th double of the year. He's hitting way over 400. Another multi-hit game, looking healthy. We did a spot on him recently. Just couldn't be any more pleased with what we've seen from Cody Bellinger so far this spring. They were comparing his swing to Paul O'Neill on the broadcast. I hadn't done that. I hadn't looked at that, but they're right. It's very similar. And as long as he knows that and takes that approach, hit the ball hard wherever it's pitched, whether it's using left field or whether it's turning on that down and in pitch and golfing it to right field like O'Neill used to do. If he can do that, he can have a lot of success in Yankee Stadium. And it looks like he enjoys being a Yankee right now. Jazz Chisholm made an error in the second inning, his second error of the spring, tried to make an athletic throw. It was kind of unnecessary, and he threw it away. That's one of the spots where being athletically gifted can kind of hurt you. You think you can execute plays because of your athleticism, but you don't quite get it done, and it can cost you a run. Spring training is a good time to try that, but during the season, I'd rather he holds onto the ball there. Trent Grisham went deep in the bottom of the second inning, a absolute laser beam. 3rd home run of the spring for Trent Grisham. In addition to Ben Rice and Dom Smith, he's another guy who's making some noise for playing time while Giancarlo's down. He would certainly play center field because he's an elite center fielder. But if you want to give Judge a DH day, you shift Bellinger over to right field. If you want to give the Martian a day off against a tough lefty because he doesn't hit as well from the right side of the plate, you shift Belly over to left field where he played today. So I think that there's a lot of combinations for Aaron Boone to use to kind of put together a pretty good lineup. Yankees came just short on a couple of home runs today. Jazz took one to the warning track. Volpe took one to the warning track, but both of them were caught just before he got to the wall.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Oswald Peraza, another guy who is sporting a beard, unfortunately not hitting very well in spring training. I feel like he's getting on top of the ball too much. He hits a lot of ground balls to the left side. This is the second time in his career that he has had a chance to win a job and hasn't done much in spring training offensively. Yorbit Vivas has been getting more playing time as he comes back. He hit another ball hard yesterday. I love how level his swing is, and he's got a good eye. He's somebody that I'm looking forward to seeing him develop. I think he can be a pretty good player, just the way he swings the bat. We got to look at Dreamweaver today. Luke Weaver. 1, 2, 3 inning. Paul Goldschmidt was on base 3 times today, base hit and a couple of walks. Got replaced by Spencer Jones in the bottom of the 8th inning. Judge went 0 for 4 today with 3 strikeouts. So good to see that he is in ALDS form already. Dom Smith, late home run, and Duke Ellis had a very nice bunt in the 9th inning, but the Yankees came up just short. Let's talk a little bit about Cam Schlittler. Schlitt happens. I thought he threw the ball well today. This is the second post-game show we've done this year after a Cam Schlittler start, and he's been solid both times. Today the control wasn't as good, 3 walks. He went 4 2/3 innings, pitched a little bit deeper into the game, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, only one of them earned because of the error, and 4 strikeouts. His ERA on the spring is at 5.84. I do think the Yankees are giving him a solid look as somebody that they could go to at some point. If they need a spot starter, I don't know if he would be the guy for an extended, like you need a month or 6 weeks, but somebody who can step in and pitch one game, maybe the back end of a doubleheader during a tough stretch. I don't think he's on the 40-man roster, but that kind of stuff always gets worked out through the season as guys go on the IL for 60 days or whatever. It opens up spots. I'd have no trouble imagining that they're going to put Giancarlo on the 60-day IL at some point, but there could be some flexibility there. But I think we could see him this year. He seems like a pretty polished pitcher, obviously a college pitcher. Fastball is strong enough. Changeup is good. control wasn't amazing today, but he is a guy who can throw strikes. So I like what we're seeing from Cam Schlittler. All right, let's talk about Mr. Austin Wells. He has had a really great spring so far. I'll put up the player profile of him. He had 13 home runs in 2024. One of our over-unders on the Kratz episode coming up is going to be his home run total for the year. I'm still trying to settle on the number, but I'm thinking like 19 and a half. I think he can hit 20, maybe more. 115 games played last year, third in the AL Rookie of the Year. He's going to be probably the Yankees' leadoff man, which is interesting because they've never had a catcher hit leadoff in their history, and I think he's going to be the guy. Even if he doesn't become or settle in as the everyday leadoff guy, he's going to hit leadoff at some point. Unless the Yankees trade for the prototypical leadoff hitter between now and opening day. And his swing is beautiful. It is built for Yankee Stadium. 3.4 F-WAR in 2024. That was second among AL catchers. And so far this spring, hitting .355 with 3 home runs and a 1.122 OPS. And the job is his. He knows it, so he can just kind of relax and get his work in. Whereas last year he was fighting and battling with Jose Trevino. I'm just loving the confidence I'm seeing from this kid. The way he rocks the mustache confidently. We're going to have a lot of "I drink your milkshakes" this year if he keeps swinging the bat the way he is. Also, worth noting that the farm system, which catches a lot of strays from baseball fans, kind of underrated. We've got the starting catcher was the number 1 draft pick, first-round draft pick, rather. Anthony Volpe, first-round draft pick. Aaron Judge, first-round draft pick. That's 3 guys in our starting lineup that were first-round draft picks. And then you got your number 1 overall international signee at 16 years old, which is Jason Dominguez. He's going to be your starting left fielder. So for all the talk about how bad the Yankees farm system is, now they only buy players, we're producing. It's bearing fruit. Now we'll see how much they win, but we've already had an MVP in Judge 2 times. We've had, Luisio win the Rookie of the Year last year, top 3 finish in Rookie of the Year for Austin Wells. And Wells is absolutely raking right now. I'm looking forward to talking with Eric Kratz on Wednesday about what he sees from Austin Wells as a catcher, as a guy who caught for a long time, what he sees from him as a receiver, and what it's going to be like adjusting to that first full big league season where he's a full-time catcher. Now, I don't think Kratz was ever a full-time starter in the big leagues. He was, a backup journeyman. But I'm sure he knows what it's like to try and grind through a season like that, which you do have to do in the minors. And it can be tougher in the minors because you're riding buses and things like that. So looking forward to that conversation. All right, let's talk about the spring breakout from last night. A few main takeaways from that. Carlos LaGrange, 6'8", and throwing just absolute pellets. 101 miles an hour on the radar gun. And with his size, he kind of reminded me of Dellin Betances a little bit, giving me Dellin vibes. Doesn't have great mechanics. He threw a ball away on a pickoff throw. Doesn't look super comfortable, but the stuff is legit and elite. If he can harness that and tighten up the mechanics, the future is very bright for that kid, even if it's out of the bullpen. Ben Hess. A lot of you have been asking me where he is, why he hasn't been in spring training. Honestly, I don't know. He was drafted last year. He didn't make his pro debut, didn't pitch at all in Yankees camp so far, but yesterday he pitched in the spring breakout game, so that was unofficially his pro debut. I didn't see much of his breaking stuff, but the fastball was good. It was crisp. Another one of these guys who throws extremely downhill, kind of like Cam Schlittler. Very smooth delivery. They didn't have the radar on the screen for him, but just judging by the look of it, it was mid-90s to upper 90s. I'd say 96 to 98. If anybody knows and has looked at the metrics, let me know. I didn't get a chance to do it yet, but I'd say that his fastball is very crisp. Jesus Rodriguez, 22-year-old catching prospect, looked good. George Lombard was clearly the best athlete on the field for the Yankees yesterday. But overall, I thought it was a really fun showcase. There's an 8-minute highlight video on MLB's YouTube channel if you want to check it out. All right. And last but not least on this portion of the show, I wanted to give you guys a kind of a look at what we're going to do for content this year on the channel. So last year it began, the voicemail show began. It was 7-8 minutes pre-recorded. This year we're going to do it as a regular live show in the mornings at 10:30. Obviously, post-game shows coming back after every game all season long, provided I have internet. There was one game, last year where I didn't have internet. State of the Yankees with Terrence Kemp. He's going to be on periodic Fridays. He's going to be in Paris for the first few weeks of the season. But when he comes back, we're going to start doing State of the Yankees on Fridays, where we talk about, the storylines from that week and the stuff coming up in the week to come, and just a wide variety of Yankees topics. You guys can get in on the chat. We'll pull in some voicemails, things like that. Just a really fun kind of episode. We did one a couple of weeks ago. And then afterwards, I'll break that out, and it'll be its own video that can live on the channel. We're going to be doing that more, just breakout clips of 3 minutes, 5 minutes from the show that we find interesting. And obviously lots of shorts, verticals this year. And I'm excited that everything we do is once again going to be on the audio platforms, and you can get it on the go by going to your favorite podcast platform and following Pinstripe Territory. All right, so let's take some comments here.
What do you say?
All right, Word Lifer says that Hess is a big boy, 6'5", and I believe 230 pounds. He's drawn comparisons to Lance Lynn, and Lance Lynn is a guy who's also available as a free agent that I was hoping the Yankees would kind of look at as they've struggled with injuries this spring, but definitely profiles as a major league body. Big dude. All right, so we got some voicemails here. This one is from Doug, I believe.
Hey, Derek. It's Doug Rao. I'm going to attempt to talk some of us, my fellow Yankee fans, back from the ledge. Okay? I know,
Take a step back.
Garrett Cole, Lucas Giolito, it's not looking, we have reasons to feel a little shaky. But if you live in a Yankee bubble, let's take a look at what's happening around the American League. Our big nemesis, the Astros, they lost both Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker this year.
Yep.
And they're playing Jose Altuve out in left field. 35-year-old Jose Altuve, or however old he is. Now, I hear they're petitioning MLB to try and let him have a stepladder out there because that's the only way he's ever going to be able to rob a home run. But no word back on that yet. Also around the league, the Orioles are big AL East contenders. Gunnar Henderson is dealing with a right intercostal strain, which sucks for my fantasy team. He's my shortstop. But he looks like he's going to be ready for opening day, but, who knows.
That can set you
They
back.
lost Corbin Burns. That's huge. And Grayson Rodriguez, one of their big, pitching prospects, is dealing with inflammation in his right pitching elbow. The Red Sox, who were one of guys, big picks to be contenders in the AL East, they picked up Garrett Crochet, they picked up Walker Buehler. I looked at their pitching depth chart, like 3, 4 through 6 were all crossed out. Brian Bello, Lucas Giolito, Cutter Crawford, Patrick Sandoval, all out with injuries. Lucas Giolito was missed last season, or a huge chunk of it, with injury, came back, threw one pitch in the spring, and now he's out again. I'm not giddy over anyone.
I'm going to stop you there, Doug. I appreciate the call. Just for the sake of time. Look, can you imagine how Yankees fans would react if a guy was signed to a free agent contract and then missed the entire first season and then threw one pitch and got injured the next spring? They would kill him. They would literally hunt him down in the street. We saw so much from, Pavano and Ellsbury that, the post-traumatic stress from that would have put us over the edge. So, Doug is very right. There are other teams that are struggling with their own injury concerns, and the Yankees still have a good squad. We can still be a playoff team. If you look at the Fangraphs numbers, they project the Yankees to lose about 1.6 wins from Garrett Cole being out. So you can make that up just by, a really nice step-up year from somebody internally, whether it's Austin Wells. If Austin Wells puts up a 5 WAR season, boom, that earns you back that, but you're already counting on some of that anyway. So, hey, it is what it is. Here's a call from Danny.
Hey, Derek, this is Danny from California. Love your show, bro. Been a Yankee fan since '76. I wanted to chime in real quick on the Garrett Cole thing. I don't think Cole's been the same since Spider Tack was taken away, to be honest with you. I mean, he was our number one. He did, have some good, I know he won the Cy Young, and he'll put some solid starts in there. But look at the ERAs before Spider Tack and after Spider Tack. And anytime he was starting a meaningful game for us, I was on the edge of my seat every time, man. Either he was going to give us a decent outing, sometimes a solid outing, or they were going to rake his ass.
I appreciate the call. I mean, I've seen a lot of that concern over the years doing this channel. One of the first videos I made, might have been the first video I made, was a reaction to the Yankees signing Garrett Cole. And so I've kind of watched his Yankees career unfold, first with NYY recaps and now Pinstripe territory. And I've watched the fan response to him. There's been no question about his stuff, about who he is as a person. But he definitely has not been that guy that he was with the Astros at the end of his career with the Astros, where I think he had 15 or 18 start stretch where he was like 14-1 with the 1.2 ERA. He really hasn't done that type of stuff with the Yankees yet. Did win the Cy Young, but it wasn't like an overwhelmingly dominant season. It was just he was better than everybody else. That happens. I mean, it's still something to be recognized. We're going to miss Garrett Cole, for sure. But season is not over without Garrett Cole. I mean, I might have mused that it was when they first lost him because I was right smack in the middle of my emotions. But I believe in this team. I believe they can make the playoffs. And once you get to the playoffs, as teams have shown us throughout history, anything can happen.
What's going on, Derek? Man, all these injuries definitely suck, that's for sure. But overall, looking at the outlook of all the AL teams, Yankees still have a really good shot. I mean, it's a weak AL. Our division is definitely going to be the toughest part of getting into the playoffs here. We might not be AL East favorites anymore, but it's hard to say that this team is in favor for a wild card spot, bare minimum. They should still get into the playoffs, and then anything can happen there. We get a couple of hot pitchers. Evan Williams could be shutting people down by then. A couple of hot bats, not necessarily just power, but just knocking guys in. You never know what can happen. So it's all about getting there.
Appreciate the call, man. Yeah, I want to break in with some breaking news. Clark Schmidt, according to our friend Max Goodman, will not be making his start tomorrow. He'll throw a bullpen session instead. His shoulder is still sore, and he's not bouncing back the way that the Yankees want him to.
You don't know what pain is.
Certainly not what you want. Clark Schmidt, another Yankee pitcher who is struggling with injuries this spring. So stay tuned to that. Obviously, if we get more news on that, we'll come back. Hopefully he's had an MRI, but usually a pitcher not bouncing back is not a good sign. But, all right, thanks for all the calls. We do have one more. This one is from, I don't know who it's from, but it's about Anthony Volpe.
Maryland. Hi, this is Willie from Maryland. I think they need a Yankees need a shortstop because Volpe, the way he swings, he needs to choke up on his back because he's swinging like he's swinging out his shoes, And I don't even know why you have hitting coaches because I can see it watching it on TV that he needs to cut down on his swing.
Appreciate the call. I noticed that as well today. He had some bad swings. Not having a good spring. It looks like he's leaning into being power hitting Volpe, which is the opposite of what we wanted, but he is definitely taking big hacks. But again, you got to wait till the regular season begins and see how it goes. But definitely not the approach you want and not the news you want on Clark Schmidt. I'm going to look more into this, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'll see you next time.
Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.